Still going through the car wash. I cleaned out my truck, vacuumed it out. So, it's gonna be noisy. So I guess it's a good time to tell you about today's video. Now we got the blower going. Maybe I'll just do this when I get out of the car wash. How's that? Okay, now we're out of the car wash, I can talk. So, today's video is taking number 2 home. I've already taken the FW home, filthy ore, and we loaded up number 2, and we left number 1 in the cat there for a reason. Kind of a long story. I don't know if you want to hear it. I guess if you don't, fast forward. I had a guy come down with a drone. It was a DJI drone, and he's got a program called Drone Deploy. And he flew the job. I grubbed it off, got all the weeds and crap out, and then grubbed it off. And he came down and flew it. And then he came back last week after we were done. We figured we were done. My load count said, so it depends. When you're heaping the heck out of the scrapers, and we were, all the cross sections that I've ever had done on jobs came out to 27 bank yards. So if you figured, I figured at 27 bank yards it was 67,000, and at 25 it was like 62 or 3,000. So after he flew it, he called me back and he said, well, it shows you got 55 out of the hole and 44 in the stockpile. So that's a 36% difference. And later on I just got thinking about that, and I thought that's nuts, because that material was hard and we had to rip it, and then we took out 8-10 feet of rock. And when you rip rock and haul it away and dump it in the pile, even if it has a little bit of dirt, you're never going to get that rock back as tight as it was. So my thinking was, really, it should be the other way around, but 36% swell or a 36% shrink is unheard of. So he was going to send the data back to Drone Deploy and ask him to do something. I don't know what. So just out of curiosity, I went to Drone Deploy's chat forum, and I was just reading on there, and guys were saying, well, yeah, one guy was complaining he'd surveyed his job and he kept coming up with all these figures, and he says he just knew they weren't right, and so he wanted their opinion on it. And one guy said, well, if you want really good accuracy, you need to fly between 100 or 150. If you go 200, something about you won't get the accuracy, because the lower you go, the more passes it has to make, because it's got to overlap the previous pass. So the lower you are, the less of an area it's going to take pictures of. Now, don't ask me how it works. It just takes a gazillion pictures. And then the other thing he said is, when you take it off the first time, you have to make drop a pin where you took it off. And he says, make sure that you take it off from the same location every time, somewhere, that's not going to change elevation. And I don't know anything about it, so I'm not saying he did something wrong. It just didn't make sense. And so he was going to come down the next day, but couldn't. So Matt just went and got his total station, and him and Jake shot it, but then Matt's data collector's got a battery problem, and so Matt is in the shop right now. He's calculating the sections using good old math and a graph, and we're going to see what he comes out at. Now, we've taken a bunch more out. We worked 4 more hours with both scrapers Friday. Quit it. Now, we quit at noon. Anyway, so depending on what Matt's cross-section comes out at, we may want to go back in and take some more material out. Now, do I have to? No. Why not? Because their contract doesn't state anything about measurements, that you'll be paid on measurement. They didn't have it cross-section before we started. It's hard to cross-section it afterwards, and that's basically what Matt's doing. We had a big pile of dirt on each end that got moved. We just want to see where his figures are compared to the drone, and that's going to tell us if we've got to move some more out. I want to get them the quantity that they originally wanted out of there, which was 60. They authorized me to go to 70. The only place we have anywhere we can take dirt is on the south end, because we're still going down. The rest of it is just nasty rock. I don't feel like I need to put any more effort into the rock. We've already broke 2 ripper shanks. Had a lot of guys comment that my mistake was, well, I wasn't running it, that we tried to turn. Well, no, we didn't. That's nonsense. You can't turn a D9 with steering clutches with 3 shanks in the ground, or even 2. It's not going to turn. Now, it's going to go kind of where it wants to go. It can turn and move a little bit, but we never try to steer it. If it starts going off to the Joneses bad, you just got to pick up the ripper and reposition yourself and go again. So that one shank, the last shank that broke, you saw that it was rusted halfway through. It was already broke. The first one that broke, that was a nice clean break, so I don't know what happened there, but looking at it, it looks like it's possibly been welded before, and somebody didn't preheat it and use the correct rod. I had a lot of guys tell me I needed to weld it up with 7018. Well, no, you don't. My lowboy trailer is built out of A514, which is T1. That's 100,000 yield steel. And I called the manufacturer. I had a crack in it, and he says use Lincoln 11018. That's what they build them with, is a 11018. And so Jake's going to weld it together. We have a wire feed that will handle up to 5/64 wire, but I think he's going to buy 045 wire, and we're going to get it from a company called Rock Mount, and the product is called Polaris. And I had Daryl Shoemaker, he used to do all my line boring and welding. I had him weld up one that had broke, and it's still going. And matter of fact, it's in the cat right now. We've been ripping with it. It's an 8 shank. So he's going to use that. And yeah, we'll preheat it and use the heat gun, make sure we get it up the right temperature and keep it there. Takes you roll it this way, roll it that. If any of you have watched Curtis at Cutting Engineering in Australia, how's it going, guys? Anyway, he had to go through the same thing, and he used wire. Nobody's going to use a stick. That's just too time consuming. You can't weld all the way through. And anyway, so he's going to use wire and weld them back together. We'll see how they hold up. So anyway, I've got tons and tons of footage of us digging the hole, about a 360 camera. don't know what I'm doing there, but that was some interesting footage. You can see what's going on behind me, in front of me, all that stuff. I'll put all that in there. Had a lot of guys that wanted me to do a walk around to the scraper and show everything and how it worked, so I'll do that. But anyway, that's where we are. It's Saturday today. What is today? It is Saturday, December 7th, the day which will be remembered in infamy. And I've not heard anything about Pearl Harbor today. I think people just don't care anymore because all the World War II veterans are pretty much gone. It's too bad. Anyway, hope you enjoy the video. I got a lot more to come of us digging the hole, so hope you enjoy those. Lots of scraper action, pushcat action, broken rippers, all that fun stuff. So I'll see you next week. Bye.